And we are live, everyone. Welcome into the program. Orange and Blue today.
Yep. Tuesday. A Tuesday that finds the Broncos with the number 7 seed. A Tuesday that finds the Broncos as one of the teams on the tips of many tongues beyond Colorado, because people are waking up to Bo Nix being a legit quarterback.
I just absolutely love the admissions from some who are like, I was totally wrong on Bo Nix. Yeah, he's the guy. Broncos got their guy. It is Orange and Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, and Andrew Mason talking about a menu and talking about the expanded menu that Sean Payton can and will have for one Bo Nix. Mace, against the Raiders, how much more will we continue to see? And even after that, the rest of the year?
More than what? Last week or more than a month ago? Because now I think we're talking about incremental additions, right? Some of it also, though, is saying, okay, does this not work as well? So I'm not sure it's an expanded menu as a focused menu. You know, like you go to the Cheesecake Factory and the menu is like 20 pages. Or you even go to IHOP and it's a really bulbous menu. But there comes a point where you have to say, okay, this is what we do best, okay? We're not, how many people are going to IHOP for a chicken sandwich? And have and so I think what it is it's an expanded menu in terms of figuring out what works for Bo Nix in this offense and what doesn't. And then it becomes a more focused menu. Maybe not as small as like an In-N-Out menu where literally it's just right there in front of you. But a menu that tailors to what Bo Nix does best. And Sean Payton kind of implied that yesterday as far as when he was talking about what was there for Bo Nix.
Yeah, we'll get into that comment. It's a long one, but it's a great one. And you say, well, first off, you're talking about all this food. You're getting me off track, Mace. I'm so hungry. But
are you hungry or are you hangry?
I'm not hangry. I made sure to have a protein bar like about an hour ago because I was like, I don't want to get on this show and then be hangry. So I'm just hungry, but I'm looking forward to a nice dinner. But I will say this, it's customized for Bo and the opponent. Like, what do they not do well? Where can we attack? And Sean Payton, since the Saints game, has put really good game plans together for Bo.
He has. I mean, even the game plan in Baltimore was not bad.
Yep.
I mean, that's a couple of fourth downs away from being a game plan that gets you in the mid-20s. And then even in the second half, they were moving the ball until they were in go for it mode there when they were well behind and got stopped in those situations. But it wasn't a game where you looked at the offense and said, man, they're terrible.
Right.
No. It was a game where you looked at the offense and said, oh, those fourth downs, and you just couldn't keep up just yet. And that's probably also where the skill position complement that you had came into play. Of course, what we have seen since then, since that Baltimore game, is even better usage of some players. Getting creative with Marvin Mims Jr. the last 2 games, using him as a joker, someone who can line up as a receiver, can line up in the backfield. And the final piece of it was actually seeing him kind of on a sweep, and we saw that on Sunday. So that's pretty exciting. And if that comes in, probably something else goes by the wayside because you only have but so much you can use in a game, and that's okay. But you mentioned tailoring it to the matchups, and that's something where you're a really advanced level. It's where Bill Belichick and Tom Brady were with the Patriots. It's where Sean Payton was with Drew Brees in New Orleans, in that there's so much there that you're not going to get to it in a given week, but you can kind of you can go in one direction one week and you can alter it the next week, and that makes you really hard to game plan for. And oh, by the way, that also favors a team that's got multiple running backs. Again, look at how Belichick used running backs when he was with Tom Brady, and would base those on matchups. And it's why, like what I said yesterday, if it's hot hand, just kind of changing things from week to week. You had an Audric Estime week in Kansas City. You had a Javonte Williams week against the Falcons. At some point before the end of the season, there's probably a Jaleel week.
Yeah, we'd be looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to what more Bo can do, because the great thing is, like, there's 10 games before this last game against Atlanta. You're preparing with 10 games of film on Bo Nix, and then they do stuff you haven't seen before. So I look forward to a customized, you say, focused menu, Mace, because it's like, hey, we know what Bo Nix can do. No, you don't. No, you don't. We haven't seen it all yet.
And there's going to be stuff we see next year that we didn't see this year.
Yeah.
The menu is also based on your skill, guys. I mean, I'll throw a name out there. If you have Tyler Warren as your first round pick out of Penn State, your menu expands. Does it not?
Of course, yeah.
Just to name an example there. So it's not something that's going to be limited to this year. This is ongoing, but you'd have to say Bo Nix is ahead of schedule in terms of what he's able to do and the throws he's able to make. When you see that throw to Devon Vele, that 34-yarder across the middle, which is as good a throw as you're going to see in the NFL, given what you've got to navigate, the location of Vele, the defensive backs in the area, that gives you confidence that he can do a lot more like that. And that also gives you confidence that he can elevate those around him, because he's elevating Vele, allowing Vele to take the next steps to where, I guess, you may actually ask the question, do you need Josh Reynolds back from injured reserve? Of course, the Broncos have started the clock on his return, so there's a deadline coming soon. There's a deadline, by the way, coming tomorrow on Delarian Turner-Yell. So, but
keep an eye on that.
Yeah, keep an eye on that. But as far as the roster moves go, let me just make sure that this email was not a roster move. Okay, it wasn't.
Just a media schedule move, right? I think so.
No, it was just the weekly release that came in.
Okay.
I saw that and I'm like, oh, did they make a move? Because we're sitting here at deadline time for Turner-Yell.
Yeah.
For a move to be made. So,
well, who do you go to? Well, continue to go to Vele and Franklin. They're not forcing it to. I felt, and we talked about it earlier, Mace, like they were. But if you expand the menu, if you customize the menu, if you focus the menu, sometimes there is going to be a Franklin. There's a Franklin, just like a Jaleel game's coming. There's a Franklin game coming. I don't know when it is, but one of those big shots is going to connect with him. And then we're going to be like, wow, they did it with Troy. So it might be, a committee at running back for sure. It might be a committee at wide receiver not named Courtland Sutton. And I'm okay with that.
Long term, yeah. Maybe not this year.
Well, you have to this year. Next year, you probably get some wide receiver help. This year, you're kind of like piecing it together with what you can. And that's why Mims is a joker. And I'm so happy for him to be in that position because he can make plays. You can give it to him. So if you have to do committee receiver behind court, and 1 week it's Vele, 1 week it's Franklin, 1 week it's Mims, yeah, that's just what you do. Results.
And Marvin Mims Jr. was not a toy that was meant to sit on the shelf. No. That's a toy that once you figure it out, it's complex. Once you figure it out, you got to play with it.
Sean's first pick.
It's a lot of fun, right? I mean, when you see Mims running a wheel route, man, and it was cool to watch that play develop, because when you see Mims out there, and maybe it's just my eyes, okay, I'm immediately focused on him. And so it's, okay, how are you going to set this up? How are you going to create space for him when surely the Falcons are making note of his presence as well, right? But that was just part of the great play design in this game. I mean, sometimes you're setting Marvin Mims Jr. up to be open by creating that confusion elsewhere. Sometimes you're setting Nate Atkins up to be wide open because you've got the play flowing in other directions and he's going to the spot. I mean, what we're seeing now is that prophecy that you and I talked about when Sean Payton first came in, and you and I said, if this offense is running as intended, somebody is open every play. And then it's a matter of finding the open man. One of the reasons why Russell Wilson is no longer with this team is because he was spinning around and not finding the open man. We all know, but we've all seen that clip of the New England game last year when they've got the overhead camera behind him and he spins around and he doesn't see the open man and he takes the sack that he never should have had to take because the protection was good on top of everything else. So now you have Bo Nix, who is comfortable with the expanding menu, being able to quickly find the open man, go through those progressions, find the open man, and turn these into big plays. This is part of why the Broncos, they get into 2nd and 15. You're like, okay, they can get out of it, right? Mm-hmm. 2nd and 15, they got to play for that. And Devon Vele gets 14 yards and gets you to 3rd and 1. And from 3rd and 1, the Broncos are probably going to get it done almost every time. There's and that
your playbook for that.
Yeah, and then it feeds on itself and it grows and grows and grows.
You asked Peyton the expanding menu question, didn't you?
Yes.
You want to set it up?
Yeah, and I asked it not specifically about Sunday, but specifically over the last few weeks. I put it out there on social media earlier on today that if you go by EPA per play, success rate, CPOE, completion percentage over expected, Bo Nix is better than Jaden Daniels since the start of October. Now, Jaden Daniels has the rib injury, but it's a massive turnaround for Nix compared to where he was early in the year. So this is why you can start saying, okay, is there a case for Bo Nix Rookie of the Year? Probably not yet, because he had a heck of a deficit to overcome early on in the season. The old cliche, you can't win anything in the first month of the season, but you can lose it. So possible that that's what happened for Bo Nix on Rookie of the Year if he doesn't get it. However, since then, we've seen incremental growth leading to a game when everything breaks right like he had on Sunday. And so I asked Sean Payton about the expanding menu, specifically based on the multi-week sample size, not just Sunday. Here's what he had to say.
I think repetition is where it begins, and the more and more you rep a certain play, a certain scheme, the more and more you get comfortable with it, and you kind of know where all the answers are relative to. Bo said something that was real sharp yesterday. Like, we send in a play for a certain defense, and you get another defense. The better plays have answers versus more of the defenses. And as he gets comfortable with where those answers are, then you can expand on it. And the same thing the other way around. In other words, there's certain plays we're going to have up each week that we're going to window dress. And I just think it's a gradual. I can't look at like one game and say that was the game, but it's just a gradual process of confidence, both in what he's comfortable with, and then confidence and what the others around him can do with it. So, it's kind of something that is ongoing. And honestly, I don't think that ever really, there's no conclusion to it. You're always tinkering. You're always looking for new ways to, get a third down conversion. But I've been real impressed with the speed at which he's been able to adapt to this league.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot. I'm going to start with the window dressing thing because early in the season, you and I would say, like, where's the play? Where's the pre-snap motion? Where's the window dressing? And they definitely love screens. I don't know if you saw the clips going around, Mace, but like
lots of tunnel screens,
slip screens, wide receiver screens, smoke screens, which is a wide receiver screen. But it's like, okay, but you're also seeing window dressing. Do the same thing, just make it look a little different. And I like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. You talk about kind of the window dressing. The other thing I like is when he says you send a play for a certain defense and then you get another defense and the better plays have an answer against more defenses, right? So, but better plays that have answers against more defenses, that's where you start talking about the motion and things being more complex. So basically, here's what I'm thinking as he's saying this. He's not putting it in these exact terms, but think back to last season, back in September, and there were critiques that, oh, it's past Sean Payton by. Oh, there's a lack of motion. This isn't a modern offense. It's an offense that's past its sell-by date. Well, last year with Russell Wilson conceptually not being able to do a lot of the things that he was accustomed to doing, and then early on this season with a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix and trying to figure out how much of the menu he could handle. Now we're sitting here 11 starts into Bo Nix, and all of the elements that made his offenses so dynamic, so difficult to counter, because on every play there was an answer for everything. Now you're seeing that because they can do more complex stuff. They can do more. More can be put on Bo Nix pre-snap. He's proven worthy of it. He's getting it. I mean, imagine where Bo's going to be a year from now if he continues to go on this trajectory.
Right. No, they'll imagine a year from now, they'll be looking like a potential Super Bowl contender. That can happen.
Yeah.
And it can happen that quickly.
And it can happen that quickly. And then just to kind of look at the arc of discourse around Bo Nix. How many times did we hear the Drew Brees comparison in the first months of the year? I mean, I think we did a bunch of shows talking about that. Is it fair to compare Bo Nix to a Hall of Famer? I'd say you hold back on that. You kind of be conservative on it. But stylistically, certainly there were things there. Well, a year from now, if he continues at this rate, it may very much look like Drew Brees running the Saints offense.
Mm-hmm. Just like Sean wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
So funny, man. It's funny.
Everything is proceeding as he had foreseen. Sorry.
Yes. It's funny to see the backpedaling, and it's funny to see the people be like, I guess he was the best fit for Sean Payton. Yeah, no kidding. Hey. Oh, well.
I mean, I think there would have been others that fit as well. Like, I think
they would
have required some coaching. I think Drake May could have gotten there, but he would have had to have had the hero ball coached out of him.
Yeah, we don't know if Sean was necessarily wanting that. They love Jaden, they love Bo. You know, and he loved Caleb as well, but like Dirty Secret is about to fit, man, and he's fitting. I'm looking up the numbers. Maybe you have a Mace, because I saw Bo's numbers against the blitz. By the way, Kurt Benkert can't stop talking positively about Bo. So again, that's just funny to me. But Bo against the blitz, like that's, and again, not to compare him to Mahomes, but the best players, the best quarterbacks are the ones that you don't want to blitz them because they'll kill you. And Bo Nix against the blitz, I think he only had one incompletion. Again, I'm trying to find him scrolling here, but like it was absolutely fantastic when you send pressure. Of course, the Falcons struggle to get pressure, but when you send the house, he was taking some hits, but he was standing in there, and that's something that's a little bit different as well. He's not trying to abandon the play as early as he was, in the first few weeks of the season.
I mean, he can run. He's got the tool in his drawer, and we did see it, when he did take off on Sunday. I mean, that's another thing. When he does take off, it's after he's gone through his progressions, and and you kind of assume, pardon me, that good things are going to happen, right?
Right.
When he takes off,
right?
Because it's a decision that's coming here. Hang on, I'm looking to see if I can
hold, please.
Yeah, I'm looking for
I
the
thought
blitz.
I liked them, but I guess I didn't like them.
Which site has the blitz metrics?
I can't remember. Oh wait, it's PFF. It's right here. Duh. PFF says Bo Nix versus the blitz, 11 of 13, 145 yards passing, 3 touchdowns
on Sunday.
Yep. In week 11 of 13, 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. You blitz him and you paid.
Yeah. That's it right there. It's you know what? How often do we say you don't blitz Patrick Mahomes? Because he makes you pay.
Oh, yeah.
The great ones make you pay. I'm not saying, did I just say Bo Nix is a great one? I didn't mean that, but you know what I'm getting at. It's an attribute of a quarterback that you can build a franchise around, is making him pay for the blitz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not going to get over our skis with Bo Nix because we're the ones that have been telling you this kid can be really good. We don't have to backpedal. I'm not pulling my hamstring backpedaling.
Fit matters. We always say. There are very few quarterbacks that would succeed in any environment. They're just so gifted that they would have flourished. I mean, I'll give you an example. I think Peyton Manning would have succeeded in any offense he ran. Any NFL offense, I think he would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes probably would have done well in anything.
Sure.
But Bo Nix need a specific scheme. I mean, I think he could have run Shanahan McVay well. And, you and I talked with Chad Ryder after the draft, and the Rams were very keen on Bo Nix, as Chad told us.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it came up a few days ago. Someone asked me, if they could have waited to the second round on Bo. No.
What?
No. Wasn't happening. They were not going to get Bo in the second round. Because there's still like that possibility. Oh, what if they'd gotten Bowers and Bo? Well, first of all, they didn't have a second round pick to begin with. You would have had to make a trade. Second of all, Bo was not getting out of the middle of the first round.
Oh my God. We still have to fight that, Mace? I thought we were done with that.
Remember, the gap was after Bo. Bo was on the, there's always the run. At every position, there's a run, and then there's a gap. The Broncos, for example, got Audric Estime at the end of a run of running backs.
Mm-hmm.
They got Bo Nix at the end of the run of quarterbacks. Wouldn't that be something interesting if those two guys they picked at the end of the run on the position, when maybe you might have been looking at others at running back? I mean, maybe you were looking at Braylon Allen quite a bit, right? But Allen was off the board. But Audric Estime was there, so you took Estime. I mean, you might have taken Blake Watson if Estime had been off the board, right? Just sort of how these things work.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. And this offense, getting ready. We didn't play this yesterday, Mace, so let's play today. Quinn Miners talking about firing on all cylinders. Here's what your guard said.
Yeah, I mean, when we're able to give him time, give him a run game, I mean, we were all working together really well today. I feel like O-line, running backs, tight ends, wide receivers, Q, like we were firing on all cylinders, and you can't talk about the special teams enough either. I mean, Marvin with some of those incredible returns in the punt game. Our defense is playing lights out again. So it was just an incredible team win, and that's kind of how it was on offense. Everybody was doing their job really well today.
All cylinders, take it and go.
All cylinders and incorporating everybody. This is another thing that you like, is how well Bo Nix spreads the ball around in a game and how many people he involves. That is something that really it encourages you, because even though we talk about how you can shop at the toy department in the offseason, I think to get this offense to a really high level, because as great as it was on Sunday, it's still an offense that had 24 points the previous 2 games. Okay. On balance over the course of the year, and over the course of the year, it's a slightly below average offense. Since the start of October, it's an average offense. So there's room to grow. But how do you make the most of what you have? I think we're seeing that. When you see tight window throws to Courtland Sutton, that's a product of Bo Nix getting more comfortable and understanding what Courtland Sutton needs, and that, hey, you can throw it up to him when he's blanketed and he's still got a chance to come down with a football, because that is the dynamic element that he possesses.
Mm-hmm.
You can, he can, use Mims out of the backfield. And I mean, and we're seeing also, the other thing is we're seeing the footwork get better too. And this is, we talked about the footwork. We talked about the back foot throws. I think if we're looking for areas in which he's improved,
That's
think
number one.
seeing that is huge. We are seeing fewer back foot throws than we saw even a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Think of New Orleans. I mean, we're at the New Orleans game. We were coming out. Hey, they won, but man, I mean, but like that throw when he was looking for Kroll and then Franklin was deeper and it landed equidistant between the two. And it's like, man, your feet weren't set and they could have been set. You had time.
Oh yeah.
You weren't under duress. Sometimes you are going to make off platform throws. It's necessary, but it's when you have the off platform throws and a clean pocket when you can step into it. That was the concern. And we're seeing less of that with Bo Nix over the last few weeks.
And
that's
as
growth.
Dikembe would say, no, no, don't do that. And I think he's learned from the failures. Bo Nix has had failures. That's why what he did at Oregon was great, because he learned from Auburn. We talked about it, this year, Senior Bowl. He was failing on Tuesday. By Thursday, he was dealing. So it's like, yeah, that throw was embarrassing. It became a meme. But it also taught him, like, just stay steady, man. Stay steady with your feet. And he's done a much better job at that. And the results are quite evident.
And he's teaching, ingesting it, processing it, and applying it.
Yep.
And that was a theme of Senior Bowl week, is that even without the 7-on-7 reps that could have helped, he had his best day on the 3rd day. Went from this to this to this. What does that mean? It means you're taking the teaching, ingesting it, processing it, and applying it. Some quarterbacks that we've seen around here, they struggle with that final step, the application. That's kind of the most important thing. And I mean, I think of Drew Locke, for example. He could get it right in individual work. I was telling this to my mom last night. We were talking because she wondered why Drew Locke didn't get the Giants gig, why it was Tommy DeVito. Yeah. But we were reflecting on Drew Locke, and that was, the conversation. Like, you watch him in individual drills when he was getting the coaching, and he'd get it right. But then when it went out there, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, reverted to some bad habits. Well, Bo Nix, he not only gets the teaching, but he applies it when it's out there on the field when it matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that really encourages you, because the teaching is going to go on, and Sean Payton's going to throw more and more at him over the coming years, because he's going to want to get the most out of him, to see where he can go, to see if he can become another Drew Brees in this offense.
I like it. I like it.
It's good times, man. It's happy days in Broncos country,
It's fun. It's absolutely fun. By the way, if they beat the Raiders, their playoff chances go from 59% to 69%.
Nice.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Just keep winning, man. Keep winning. And if you say, okay, by the 3rd day, right, by Thursday, we're almost to Thursday. Because if we split this season into thirds, 18 weeks, whatever, 17 games, we go 6 and 6. That means week 13 will be Thursday. We're almost to Thursday, buddy. What's that?
I know. Didn't you say a while ago, with Bo Nix, when there was critiques, and you said, let's come back to week 12?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said, give me 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm. That being said, look, there's going to be a shaky day to come.
Sure. Okay? Right. We're not going to lose our mind when that happens. We
had shaky days earlier this month, right?
Sure.
When they were 5-3, I got some pushback for saying, "Hey, at some point they're gonna come back to earth a little bit. There's gonna be a bump." It happened, right? It happened right then and there. There'll probably be another bump at some point, and what you hope is that the bump doesn't cause too much damage. But there'll be some adversity. I will say this. I think I have confidence the Broncos can win the next 3 games, but I don't think you put any of them in Sharpie. They're not at that point yet.
No.
Everything feels good, but you are going out there against a Raiders team that will certainly be frisky and ready for you. Cleveland's kind of a wild card. And then Indianapolis is just what have they figured out about themselves and what they do best.
What did Richardson learn from his benching? He looked pretty comfortable out there.
Yes.
But listen to what PJ Locke said, and we played it yesterday. Then Bo Nix said, and hey, PJ said it too. Bo Nix said that at the podium after the game of like, yeah, I'm tired of being close. Hey, you guys were real close on that play. Hey, we were real close on this game. Hey, I'm tired of being close. So they can't put them in Sharpie, Mace, but they're not putting it in Sharpie themselves. Mm-hmm. They're not getting too big for their britches. They're still. I mentioned I was hungry earlier, and Sharon jumped in the chat room and said the Broncos country is hungry. Well, I think the Broncos are hungry too.
I think so. I think they've, and I will say this. I think the cautious optimism became something more robust this week. Now it's becoming more it's becoming more than optimism. It's becoming a belief that it really is going to be different around here. And I gotta tell you, like, if this team can wiggle its way into the playoffs, they're gonna be tough to handle. They got the ability to cause some problems because the Bo Nix and his improvement can help get you there. But what really does things for you in the postseason, if you have a quarterback who's obviously has the ability to make plays, that's one thing. But you got to have that defense, especially if you're going to go road, which the Broncos probably have to do if they get in the playoffs. Defense travels. And if it can avoid the pitfalls that it had against Baltimore, then it'll keep them in it. Give them a chance to shock the world. And we keep seeing over the last few years teams like Tennessee back in the 2019 playoffs going all the way to the AFC Championship game. San Francisco kind of coming out of nowhere in 2021 when they were scuffling around for most of the year. I mean, there's room for that team that is either emerging or, was mid-tier or both. I mean, the Broncos were 5-5 after 10 games. They very much qualify as a team that was mid for a long stretch of the season. There's room for that team to do some damage if things break right. So it's exciting. It's exciting to have these conversations. Although I got to ask you this, Cease.
What's that?
They were 6-5 last year too. What's your feeling now compared to 12 months ago with this record in terms of your optimism?
Definitely optimistic last year, but also in the back of your mind, you knew what the defense was doing was not repeatable. I mean, it was a historic, almost just amazing turnover rate that they were getting. So just knowing football, you knew it wasn't going to last, but still excited. Now, and I'm not saying that like they peaked during that win streak, but of course they peaked. But like this team, I don't feel like they've peaked at all. They haven't played a perfect game. They haven't played a complete game.
Yeah.
So more optimism and more hope.
Rebellions were built on hope.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's for sure. Broncos country will take it too. What are you thinking, Mace? Are we wrapping up here? Can I go eat or
let's go eat. I don't want you to go from hungry to hangry. And I'm down here And I'm down here checking on my mom. I think she's got something cooking as well. I think she's got some clam chowder getting ready to go here. So,
Well, I'm sure it's a lot warmer where you're at. It's pretty cold in Colorado today.
yeah, it was 80 some degrees. I mean, you can't see it. I'm wearing shorts right now.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
I'll be
got the
back in
fireplace
Colorado
on.
tomorrow. Back at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit.
Very good.
Yeah. I had to say it with
that.
some power.
Yes, because it is powered by Common
Power. Oh, and Nathan telling us what it's time for us to say. And that is that we appreciate all of you who've subscribed, but we know that there's a significant percentage of you that aren't subscribers. And hey, don't you want to know when we're talking? I think so. If you're here, if you're still watching the show after 35 minutes and 55 seconds, you want to know when we're talking about your Denver Broncos. And the best way to know when we're talking about your Denver Broncos is to subscribe. So, but it's not just that. It's also like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
and hit that notification bell so that you
never
miss
a vid. Yes, we got people doing it at home now. Join with us, right? The OBT family. That's what we're here for. We are here for you. Here to talk about these Denver Broncos. Mace, I'll see you in the locker room tomorrow. Hopefully they're not early.
Since I've got a flight from Florida in the morning, I hope they're not early too. I hope they're right on time.
Yeah, well, travel safe, my friend. It'll be good to catch up with you in person tomorrow. Everyone out there, we thank you very much for watching. He's Andrew Mason. You follow him on all the socials at Mace Denver. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying OBT's BFD. Thank you, as always, very much for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty,